What happens when leadership avoids talking about things like caregiving? You've never heard a leader at your company mention caregiving. Not in an all hands meeting, not in a policy announcement, not even in a wellness memo. And that silence can speak volumes. To caregivers, it says, this isn't something we talk about. This isn't safe to share. Your life outside of work doesn't belong here. And when leaders don't say anything about caregiving, then culture fills in the blanks with fear, shame, and silence. So today we're asking what actually happens when leadership avoids talking about caregiving? And most importantly, how can you change that starting now? If we haven't met, I'm Dr. Anna Thomas. I'm a physician, leadership speaker, caregiver advocate, and corporate wellness specialist. I help organizations strengthen their workforce and create workplaces where people and performance can thrive together. Even as we enter an era of AI, automation, and agentic teams, the future of work is still human, and that work is changing dramatically. But at the same time, employees are navigating complex personal and professional pressures that are only going to escalate in the coming years. For example, in the next 5, 10, 15 years, we will see an exponential increase in the number of older adults who will need caregiving support. Who will be providing that care? Working adults. Right now, 63 million Americans are caregivers. That's 1 in 4 adults, with more than half of them currently working full-time. Those numbers are expected to increase and will have a tremendous impact on our communities and, yes, even our workplaces. And caregiving is just one example of a personal stressor that will impact the workplace. Mental health, chronic illness, stress, and burnout are all on the rise, and the organizations that will thrive are those that lead with care, culture, awareness, resources, and empowerment. Care. Through this series, I share practical strategies, leadership tools, and insights to help you create cultures that support well-being, strengthen engagement, and retain top talent. If you'd like a clear starting point, then check out my free training, The Future of Work is Care. The link is below. And while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with another leader who is ready to build a workplace that cares. Let's get into today's topic. As a physician and a caregiver coach, I've supported countless professionals who were caregiving silently while trying to keep up at work. Many of them worked for great companies with well-meaning managers and supportive HR teams, but they still didn't feel safe to speak up because leadership never mentioned it. There was no signal that caregiving belonged in the conversation, and when that happens, people disappear. Not physically always, but emotionally. They disengage, they isolate, or they burn out trying to look like everything is fine. Leadership silence doesn't protect your workplace, it erodes it. Let's talk about why. When leadership avoids talking about caregiving, employees don't interpret this as neutrality. They interpret it negatively. It's not okay to talk about this. If I bring it up, I might be seen as less committed. I'll be the only one admitting it. And that silence isn't neutral, it's a signal. And the signal is, this is risky. Even if you have policies in place, even if HR says we're supportive, the absence of leadership voice keeps stigma in place. Because culture isn't shaped by just policy, it is shaped by what leadership talks about. Let's walk through what typically happens in companies where leadership avoids this topic. First of all, employees stay silent. They don't request flexibility. They don't ask for help. They hide their responsibilities behind vague phrases like, I have some stuff going on at home. It's okay. I'm just dealing with something personal. And that leads to unsupported performance or an exit. Second, stigma thrives. When no one is talking about it, it becomes the exception, a problem, a liability. Coworkers may assume that that person, they're not reliable, or they're getting some special treatment, or they're checked out. Without open dialogue, the assumptions always fill the void. And third, policy gets undermined by culture. You may offer benefits, but if no one talks about them, they go underused, and that is a wasted investment. And worse, it's a missed opportunity for trust. Culture beats policy every time, and culture is shaped by the leader's words. When caregivers don't disclose, leaders can't forecast their bandwidth. They can't adjust roles. They can't plan for strategies for retention and recruitment. They can't support succession planning, so teams hit walls they didn't see even coming because the data stayed hidden in silence. It's not that leaders don't care. It's often they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. So common reasons I hear, it's too personal. What if I offend someone? I'm not a caregiver, so I can't speak to it. Is this even my place? Here's the truth. Saying something with humility and intent is better than saying nothing at all, because silence doesn't just protect you, it isolates your people and it prevents progress. You don't need a perfect speech. You need presence. You need to show your team that you know that this is part of their reality and we want to do better by them. We want to support them. First of all, acknowledge reality. You might say, we know that many of you are balancing these responsibilities alongside your work. We know that care responsibilities don't clock in and clock out. We see you. Second, affirm support. We want this to be a workplace where no one has to choose between caring for a loved one and succeeding at their job. If you're carrying care responsibilities, please know that support is available. We have resources and benefits to support you, and you are not alone. Third, share resources or actions. Our managers are being trained on how to support care-related conversations. We're looking at our benefit through a caregiving lens. Let us know what is working, what is not. We've added a section to our surveys to ask about these demands, these needs. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just show that you're looking, you're listening, and you're responding to the needs. When leadership talks openly about caregiving, employees feel seen. They come forward earlier, before crisis hits. Trust increases. Flexibility becomes a tool, not a favor. And retention improves because people don't have to choose between work and care. And leaders gain credibility not because they have the answers, but because they're willing to name what's real. That is how you shift culture. That is how you build safety. That is how you lead through uncertainty, not around it. And if you want to start leading visible culture change around caregiving, then my free training, The Future of Work is Care, it walks you through the care framework and how to communicate support without overstepping. You can tap the link below to get started. And if you haven't already, check out my book, Workplaces That Care. It gives you everything you need to recognize caregiving's impact, apply a structured model, and future-proof your workplace culture with empathy and results. You can find it on Amazon. More thing for you. Before you go, if you've hesitated to speak up about caregiving, if you've ever wondered whether it's your place, if you've ever felt unsure how to begin, I want you to know it doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be present. Your words can be the bridge between silence and support, between stigma and safety, between surviving and staying. Say something, even if it's small. It matters more than you know. In our next video, we're going to talk about flex time. Does offering flex time really keep caregiving employees from quitting? We'll answer that question. We'll look at what flexibility really means, why some programs fail, and what actually keeps your people from walking away. And while you're waiting for that one, watch this one. Why does supporting caregivers build loyalty more than free lunches ever could? If you're making the case for investment, this shows you how loyalty pays off. Remember, in this age of AI, the future of work is still human. So let's create workplaces that care.